So I just filmed this video and then I looked back at it and immediately saw I had a big bit of chocolate spread on my face because I just had chocolate spread on toast. And then it made me a bit embarrassed because I was talking to my neighbour outside and he must have thought, what's that on the guy's face? Is he like rubbed poo on himself? He's got a weird fetish about shit. It's just hazelnut chocolate. I'll prove it. I'll prove it to you. I promise. Some good stuff, man. None of this Nutella shit. Killing all the orangutans. But I wanted to get your thoughts on televisions. Ignore the fact there's a washing machine making noise. Can't do much about that right now. I could move into a different room and film there, but I'm not going to. I have been looking at TVs. I saw an offer on a 70-inch TV, which admittedly, in retrospect, when I got a tape measure out, I thought that is, because it's obviously corner to corner, not just along, that is massive. So that's probably a bit too big. We have a 42-inch TV, which is perfectly fine and has been good. It's a Samsung. And it's an older model, and it is actually 120 hertz refresh rate, which is important because as someone that plays PS5, I mean, it's more important only for like first-person shooters like Call of Duty Online, but you can definitely tell the difference. Like, there's no lag input, it's just no motion blur or anything. It just looks really good. But on the cheaper models now, they all seem to be 50 hertz, which isn't good enough. It has to be, I mean, I don't know why they're not 60. I don't really understand it because I believe hertz translates to frames per second. So given that most games play at 60 now, I guess 50 might I'm sure it probably looks fine to the naked eye, but I don't know. But I was doing some research anyway. This 70-inch one was I could have got it after some discount for £475. It's an LG, so a good make. Although I don't like their remotes with the point and click. That's a bit shitty. It's like playing the Wii or something. But then I was looking at, I think, and that one was actually 60 frames per second or 60 hertz, so it's probably fine. But again, I realized it was going to be too big, and then I looked at the smaller models, and they are 50 hertz. And then I googled what's a good telly for PS5. And when you take budget out of the equation, most people will recommend either maybe a Sony OLED 8 or the current, or any of the C series for the LG. So right now it's a C4. People say that telly's amazing. It's an OLED, which I've not had before, but I do have an OLED Switch. And the blacks, not meant to call them that anymore. No, the blacks in the screen look really pure. If you know, you know. It's one of those where if you haven't seen it, it's what do you mean the blacks look black? I mean, they just the contrast is good on the TVs. So I can only imagine what that is like on a big screen. Of course, there's that small risk that you have burn-in, but I think that's only if you're playing something or watching something for hours and hours and hours, and you've got the same little bit in the corner that kind of can leave a mark in the screen. I think if it was that big an issue, people would not buy these TVs, but people do. And I'm not the most obsessed gamer. I don't have the time to be that person. So the chances of that happening to me, I'd say, are non-existent. But I say to Ellen, this is the telly I think we should get. I can get 20% off this through a secret method, and you get a soundbar that's worth apparently 300 quid, but probably you could get it for 200. I can get it for £1,000 instead of 1,200 plus the soundbar. He's that's way too fucking much. We need to buy lots of other shit. A TV doesn't matter. We don't even, it's not a necessity at all. We've got a spare telly, but it's one of those non-branded ones that's probably worth 150 quid when it was bought 10 years ago. And I don't like it, and the sound quality is awful. So the current 42-inch TV we've got would go in the bedroom, and the 55, or maybe bigger, but 55 because of the cost already is quite a lot with the C4. I think that would be a good size, but she's realistically thinking that's way too much money. But you can get a lot of tellies, big tellies for £400 or less, but they're not going to be £1,000 for no reason, or £1,200. This is going to be the best of the best. And there's something I struggle with because I am not that rich, but I want to be able to afford really nice stuff. If I know there's a really good telly out there, I don't want to settle for this shitty one that's not shitty, but it's not anywhere in the leagues of the C4. And that's not even their highest price range. I think their G series is, and then you're paying probably £2,000 for a TV, which I know sounds ridiculous. However, when you think about it, there's a few things within a house that you use all the time. Your bed, so you want a good bed frame and a good mattress. Other furniture that you're regularly using, you could argue maybe a wardrobe. And a TV. Who doesn't use a TV? You fucking Yarmish or Amish or whatever? So I'll try and talk around to it. Maybe I have to pay a bit more towards it, or maybe I decide ultimately I can find another telly more in my budget. But knowing that the best one out there exists where I could play my favourite games like The Last of Us, which I just completed for probably the 5th time. I like know all the dialogue at this point. It kind of kills it a bit because you're like, I know what's happening here. But a game like that, that's just one of the most graphically impressive, on that kind of TV, you would definitely notice the difference, I'm sure. But let me know your thoughts. Any gamers out there, what kind of TV do you use? Do you stick to a budget, or do you sometimes go a bit above because you just can't resist having the best? Cheers for watching, guys. Take care.